I first heard about the ECB project a couple of years ago when I joined the Interagency Working Group as one of its principals. When you talk to colleagues in the other ECB consortium members, what you find is that the challenges we face in meeting, helping people in those circumstances are not unique to Save the Children. They're actually common challenges across all of the agencies in this work. And so ECB provides a forum where we can all identify those challenges, prioritize the areas which lend themselves to solutions, develop solutions, and push those solutions out. I think the one area where we've really excelled in trying to take things to a new level to benefit the people that we're supporting is really accountability. And we've played a very active role on the working group, the ECB Accountability Working Group. I think ECB has been very innovative in coming up with the Good Enough Guide, looking at accountability and impact measurement, and that's a tool that we've actually been mainstreaming across the Save the Children US programming, and now that Save the Children as a global organization is joining up all of its international programming, I would expect that also to be driven out as sort of the best practice for all of our programming. This has been an incredible conference. I mean, there's been a tremendous amount of learning. No teachers, no lectures, and I think probably professors ought to take a page out of the book that was used here. But what I found, there's a tremendous amount of energy, a tremendous amount of commitment, a lot of expertise and experience in the room, and all of it, in all these conversations, which were about a lot of different issues, ECB sort of was center stage. And so I think a couple of things. One is that the topics that ECB has decided to focus in on, the three, accountability, impact measurement, staff capacity building, and DRR, are central to doing the humanitarian work better. So it's very, very relevant to the work being done in the Horn of Africa, particularly on the back of the most recent drought food security crisis. And then secondly, I think the other part of ECB that I think is really evident in discussions here is how it's not about discussion at the global level. You really have to ground it at the field level. And I think the discussions over the last couple of days have shown that ECB has come up with very practical solutions that are very evidence-based, field-grounded, and very, very useful. So a lot of people were talking about things like the Good Enough Guide. Yeah, I think if you look at sort of opportunities to take forward the ECB way of working and lessons learned, I think there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is the ECB work is far from done. So we've come up with guides, we've come up with manuals, but they shouldn't be sitting on shelves. We have to figure out a way to really get them mainstream, picked up in a lot of different circumstances. So I think there's still an enormous amount of work to be done. If you think about sort of what's next in this space, whether for ECB or for others, I think it's very clear that the humanitarian system does not have the capacity, does not have the way of working that really is required given the frequency of disasters and the number of people that are being affected. So we have to figure out better ways of doing that ECB should think about, or a future project like this also needs to think about how do you build advocacy into that to drive this agenda more aggressively out to others to pick up. I think there are a number of challenges. Even though it's so self-evident that the way to go forward is through collaboration, there are some practical issues in actually moving in that direction. One, of course, is fundraising. And we have to all do a better job in finding ways to support this kind of work. A second also is that we have to better integrate, I think, this kind of innovative project into the day-to-day work we have, because a lot of our ECB colleagues are also, they have another job that they're doing 24/7. So I think there are ways of tackling both of those, but those are some practical things that we have to overcome.